The rain was trying to drown the house when the phone finally rang. 3 hours after I walked into the storm, 3 hours after my wife screamed words that didn't belong to her mouth. "Get out of my house. You don't belong here anymore." I had stood there, wet already, the sound of the door slamming echoing like a verdict. No suitcase, no explanation, just a lie that had learned how to scream. Now the phone vibrated in my hand, lighting the inside of my car like an interrogation room. "Sir," the voice said, calm, official, "this is the police." I stared at the windshield. Rain stitched the world back together in broken lines. "There's been a report," he continued. "We need you to come in." I said nothing. Silence has weight when you learn how to use it. My stepdaughter's face flashed in my mind. 17 years old when I met her, 34 now, old enough to know what lies can do, old enough to sharpen one and aim it carefully. The officer cleared his throat. "Sir?" "I'm listening," I said. I always was. The lie arrived dressed as concern. She had stood between us, eyes wet but calculated, hands trembling just enough to look real. "He touched me," she said. Time didn't stop, it narrowed. My wife didn't look at me. That was the first betrayal. 17 years of learning my face, and she chose the floor instead. I searched my memory for the moment I supposedly crossed a line. There was none. Only dinners, bills paid, school runs, hospital visits, the quiet labor of being reliable. "I would never," I started. "Don't," my wife snapped. "Don't you dare." Her voice had already chosen a side. The house shifted, not physically, emotionally, like a chessboard flipped mid-game. I watched my stepdaughter cry without tears, watched her bury her face into my wife's shoulder, watched a performance refined over months, because lies like that are never spontaneous, they're rehearsed. My wife's words came fast, accusatory, final. I listened. I always listened. When she told me to leave, I nodded, because the truth doesn't need to argue, it needs time. I didn't go far. A motel on the edge of town, cheap carpet, flickering light, perfect for thinking. Shock is loud at first, then it becomes useful. I replayed details, the timing, the suddenness, the way my stepdaughter's story avoided specifics, the way my wife never asked when. I requested phone records under my name, shared plan, perfectly legal. Patterns emerged. Late-night calls, a number saved under a woman's name I didn't recognize. I hired a private lab. DNA swabs are easy when you've lived with someone for nearly 2 decades. Toothbrushes don't lie. And then there were the messages. I didn't read them like a jealous husband. I read them like a man auditing fraud. My wife wasn't just believing a lie, she was protecting something, someone. I watched. I waited. I smiled in texts. I apologized without admitting guilt. Control isn't loud, it's patient. The results arrived on a Tuesday. DNA confirmation. My stepdaughter wasn't biologically related to the man my wife claimed was her father. She belonged to the number in the phone, the man my wife had been seeing for years, the man who had threatened to expose everything unless I was removed. So they removed me. I asked my wife to meet, neutral place, coffee shop, cameras everywhere. I slid the folder across the table. She didn't open it at first. "What is this?" she asked. "Truth," I said. She flipped pages, her hands shook, the color drained. The lie collapsed quietly, no drama, just gravity. She looked up, eyes wide. I didn't know what else to do. I nodded. That was the moment she realized I already knew everything. The police call wasn't about me, it was about her. False accusations carry consequences, especially when evidence walks in calmly and sits down. I handed over everything, records, DNA, messages, timelines, no raised voice, no tears. My stepdaughter was charged. The man vanished. My wife lost custody, credibility, and the narrative she had rehearsed. She called me after, left voicemails, long ones, broken ones. I never listened past the first sentence. The most devastating revenge is indifference armed with facts. I didn't take the house. I didn't take her savings. I took the illusion she lived inside. 17 years doesn't disappear. It reorganizes. I walk differently now, quieter, lighter, not because I forgave, because I finished. Some storms aren't meant to be survived together. Some lies only exist until someone stops begging to be believed. I didn't belong in that house. I belonged beyond it. And I left with the truth, which was the only thing they couldn't take from me.